You're going to love this Hong Kong cafe favorite, juicy chicken cooked in a rich and creamy curry. It's simple and delicious. Hey everyone, I'm Flo, Duties Behind the Camera, and we're all about simple food, simple faith. This is one of my favorite dishes that I remember Mom making when I was a teen. She would, however, make it from a bottled sauce. It was during a time when Lee Kum-kee just started releasing sauces in a jar. And so we would have this quite often because it was simple to make. But it's actually really simple to make even without the jar of sauce. And I'm going to show you how to do that today. We are making Portuguese chicken. Funny enough, it doesn't actually originate from Portugal, but from Macau, which was a Portuguese colony close to Hong Kong. So very much like Singapore noodles didn't originate in Singapore, well, here's Portuguese chicken. You can find this recipe in my cookbook, Chinese Home Style. I'm making a few adjustments today using boneless, skinless chicken, but you can follow the recipe as is in the book with bone in, skin on. I have 2 pounds of chicken thighs. It's about 10 pieces of chicken. If you don't like chicken thigh, you prefer breast meat, it's totally up to you. We like thighs better. I'm just going to remove some of this fat. We find that thighs are more forgiving. They stay juicy longer, and it's hard to overcook them. Whereas chicken breasts, I do find that it's quite easy to overcook. So if you're going to use chicken breasts, just make sure that you watch to make sure that they don't overcook. I'm cutting them into about 1.5 inch size pieces. And one of the reasons why I'm cutting up the chicken is because I find that when we cut up meat, the portions go a lot further than if you serve a whole thigh per person. So for example, you can easily serve, each person gets a steak, right? But we're finding that when we cook 2 steaks instead of 4, we slice it up and everyone doesn't eat we can't even finish 2 steaks for a family of 4. So it's good portion control, and it does help you save money because this dish will last a little bit longer. We're gonna make the sauce right in the mixing bowl. I'm adding a tablespoon of sugar, just white sugar. That helps to balance out the flavors. 2 tablespoons of regular soy sauce or light soy sauce. 1 tablespoon of Shaoxing wine. Shaoxing wine is a cooking rice wine, and if you can't find it, you can use sherry or another liqueur. We've been known to use bourbon in the past. You can use regular rice wine, or you can just omit it altogether and just use another tablespoon of soy sauce. And a tablespoon of cornstarch. Cornstarch will help to velvet the chicken. And I'm adding a small piece of ginger grated, about a teaspoon. The ginger will just get rid of the raw chicken smell that my mom likes to refer to. Just gonna stir this up. And add our chicken. Make sure all the chicken is nicely coated by the marinade. We're gonna let this sit for about half an hour while we prepare the remaining ingredients. So now we're preparing our veggies. I have a pretty large onion. I'm just gonna cut into big chunks. Since I am cutting the chicken in pieces, we're going to try to cut our ingredients about the same size so that everything cooks evenly. Also using 2 cloves of garlic. You can use as little or as much as you like. Just smashing it down a little bit. I find it's easier to chop up that way. You can also run it through a garlic press if you like. Yeah, that should be good. Using 4 medium-sized potatoes. And try to find waxy potatoes as opposed to, say, russets, because you don't want the potatoes to melt. You want the potatoes to hold its shape in the sauce. I'm using Warba potatoes. These are kind of local summer potatoes here. I have 3 jumbo carrots. If you don't have jumbo carrots, you can just use regular carrots, probably about 4 to 6, depending on how many you like to use. I'm going to cut these also into smaller pieces because I'm cooking this on the stove top today. So I want these carrots to cook through. So I'm going to cut them smaller than I would normally if I was using the electric pressure cooker. I like using these jumbo carrots because they're really juicy and sweet. I turn my heat on to medium-high. I'm using the wok today because I think it'll be easier to stir fry the chicken pieces. Otherwise, you can use a Dutch oven or just something that's big enough for you to do a lot of mixing and stirring. Okay, once you see that whiff of smoke, you can add your oil. Using a tablespoon of avocado oil. You can use vegetable oil or canola oil. A neutral tasting oil is best. And I'm gonna add my chicken with just about half of it because I want them to have a good sear on it without overcrowding. I'm going to do it in 2 batches. I'm going to flip them over and get the other side seared. Okay, we're going to remove this batch and add the next batch. It doesn't have to be completely cooked all the way through because we are going to simmer it along with the vegetables in the sauce afterwards. Okay, just removing the last batch. Okay, adding another tablespoon of oil, only because there's not much going on in here. I'm gonna add our onions. Stir fry this for about a minute or 2. Just until they're a little bit translucent. Okay, adding garlic. This only needs about 30 seconds until you start to smell the garlic. Okay, adding our carrots and potatoes. And this is why you need a wok. We like a lot of vegetables in our Portuguese chicken. Use 1 teaspoon of cumin. And if you don't like curry or you've never had curry before, this is a really good one to try. 2 teaspoons of turmeric. And that's it for the spices. There's nothing unusual in this curry. It has a really mild flavor. It's a good starting point. Adding 1.5 cups of chicken stock.
Look at those colors.
Yeah, it's the turmeric that's making it all yellowy. Also adding a can of coconut milk. This is where the creaminess comes in. Okay, also adding our chicken back in along with any juices. Give that a good mix. We're going to cover this, turn the heat down to a simmer, and let this cook for about half an hour until all the vegetables are fork tender and the chicken is cooked through. All right, see you in about half an hour. One final step, we're going to make a cornstarch slurry. So about a tablespoon of cornstarch, add about a tablespoon of water. Cool, it has to be cool water, otherwise the cornstarch won't dissolve. About a tablespoon or 2. All right, look at that. Oh, it looks so good. I'm just gonna break up one of the pieces of carrots, make sure that it's cooked through. This will go through easily. Yep. Everything is tender. Potato. Yep. All right. I'm going to try to make a little well in the middle if I can.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah. I'm going to add my cornstarch slurry to thicken up the sauce. If you want it to be thicker, you can add more. Make more cornstarch slurry and add it. I might thicken it up a little bit more. And all the vegetables also release liquid into the sauce. All right, I added a little bit more slurry, like another tablespoon or so worth. This is it. You want it to be not too runny, not too thick. Oh my goodness, this makes a ton, guys. 2 pounds of chicken will go a long, long way here. Or just eat this for days. That's what I grew up doing. Mom just made a giant pot and we would have to eat it for days.
Kind of takes the enjoyment out of it.
Are you all ready for?
Definitely.
Oh, yeah, this is definitely one of the gold standards when you go to a Hong Kong style cafe is the Portuguese chicken. When you can make it at home and make a mountain of it, and we're talking about maximum value, maximum taste. It matters to me that the thickness of the curry isn't too watery because I don't want the sauce to just run through the rice. I want it to envelop it and just drape it in the lusciousness. You know what? I don't need a fork. I just use a spoon. That's the best delivery vehicle for rice because you get in that spoonful. A great introduction to the world of curry and the creaminess of the coconut milk. Let's check out the texture of the carrots and the potato. And it's good and it's really pleasing to the eye that the veg hasn't been obliterated by the cooking process, which, you know, sometimes a pressure cooker will do. Soft, but not too soft. Potatoes, creamy soft, nice. I'd personally add more salt.
Oh, I forgot to add the salt.
Even then, it's not flavorless. It's got a lot of flavor, and you can salt to personal preference. Super yummy.
Awesome, thanks, dude. So for salt, I would probably start at 2 teaspoons for that batch and then taste and see if you need to add more at that point. For this recipe, you can find it in my cookbook, Chinese Home Style.